is. If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Good evening and welcome to episode 32 of The Leaderboard, sponsored by our great friends at TwinSpires, right here on the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your proud host, Howard Kravitz, along with our co-host, Noah Meyer, and special guest, excellent contest player, simply one of the best contest players in the world, Mr. Matt Majunkin, as we are here to recap what happened this past weekend on during Belmont Stakes weekend, and also talk about a very, very important big TwinSpires qualifier this Saturday. It's the $600 Stephen Foster betting challenge qualifier, and a very interesting handicapping / strategy discussion we're going to have the second part of this show, because there are two races back to back towards the end of the contest this Saturday with heavy favorites, and I had to bring on a heavy hitter and Matt Majunkin to tell everyone maybe not how he's going to play it, but just some suggestions and thoughts on what people may do on this Saturday's tournament. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button on the bottom right hand side of the screen on YouTube. Hit the notification bell on the top right and smash that like button below the video player as well. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor, and you can follow us on X at HHH Racing Pod. A few other peripherals I will talk about throughout the show. Noah and Matt, how are we doing tonight? No, you are back in California with family just for a little bit, and then you'll be heading back to Kentucky. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good. I'm licking my wounds from this past weekend, as I think I'm not the only one that can attest to that. But yeah, hopefully it's a good week ahead, because there's a big gulp from Matt from his bourbon, and a big weekend ahead, obviously, with the tournament that we're going to be talking about.
I'd ask you how your table tennis game is, Noah, but it sounds like it's going to be non-existent, at least in the California house.
It's not good to start with, so you can end the conversation there.
All right. I've seen your game. Actually, we played a little ping pong. It's not bad. It's not bad. Matt, we're not going to dwell on the Belmont Stakes. That's for another show. But I don't know about you, my friend. I'll talk about this a few times, and I mentioned it on X, Matt. I think it's really important to be honest and have full transparency when you host a podcast and you talk about gambling, because there are definitely people out there that love to red board and mysteriously just do well every weekend. This past Saturday was one of the worst weekends I've had in a long time, to be very honest. Our worst days, mainly because the track was a little bit weird, but also I was just wrong and just bad trips and horses didn't break. And we've all been there, Matt. I can tell by your face.
I mean,
it just seems like a lot of people lost on Saturday. It feels that way. Yeah,
you saw the speed bias all week. It kind of stayed, and then in the biggest race, it just turns out nobody can get a mile and a quarter besides one horse. That's how it turns out. It's still a great weekend of racing to watch, and it is very important to be transparent, and it's nice to see you do that. I will take my one victory from the weekend, which is I didn't sign up for the NYRA Bets 2-day contest, so I at least saved myself some money there.
Oh, that's good. That was a very exciting contest. What was 43,000 or something that one finished in. But we're here to talk about TwinSpires contests, and there was an important one, of course, that happened this Saturday, or actually this Sunday, which we'll get into in a little bit. And then coming up this Saturday is another tournament. So, Noah, why don't you go ahead and tell everyone some names, and maybe the guy on the bottom of the screen is on this list. I'm actually not sure, but some names of some winners from the TwinSpires contest. Oh, he's not. Wow.
Perfect it
week.
Was a bad week.
This is the week we have Matt. Matt's like always named.
I was tournament player of the week last week, and I might as well be LVP of this past week.
Well, now, Noah, why don't you talk about some of the winners that we had this past weekend through TwinSpires?
And so I'll start with the names, and then I'll finish things off with obviously the very infamous player of the week. But the list goes as Nicholas Smith, Ed Diekey, Justin Mustari, Gwyn Houston, Sammy Rivera, Matt Miller, Ian Lawrence, Timothy Euler, Nick McCoy, Billy Winfrey, Justin Danley. A name we don't see on here very often. That's Mr. Howard Kravitz. He is on this list. Rockwood Edwards, Darren Yarwood, Michael Domable, David Mason, Ronald Tang, Lawrence Calden, James Sousa, Drake Muir, Gregory Lewis, Jake Whitley, Mark Morris, Robert Schneider, Daniel Collode, Jeffrey Ludlow, Christy Moore, Siwa Prasad. Hope I'm saying that right. Matthew Gray, Stephen Casso, and two names we know very well, Chris Couples and Tony Rollo.
Wow, very nice. Matt, it's always nice to be indirectly called a bad contest player by your co-host. Thank you. No, I appreciate that.
You spend so much time to the promised land with these contests, you can't focus enough time on yourself.
Yeah, I don't play a lot of these contests, but I mean, if people want to crap on me, that's fine. I did finish second and qualified for the one entry for the Saturday contest, so I will spend another entry. So I was happy to qualify for one, as I'm trying to qualify for the Stephen Foster Betting Challenge. Matt, do you have an entry or two entries for that already?
I've already got two, so I am going to sit this one out this weekend, but I'm happy to talk about it, and it's still going to be an exciting contest.
No, that gives us a chance to qualify since Mr. Majukin's not going to be in it. But Matt, it shows you that not only with cash play, but contest play, like people make it look easy. We hear your name, we see your name all the time. We see Matt Miller's name all the time. We see some of these names all the time. Look, some of these people lose also. Like, it's not that easy. Just simply, I'll just throw in my 2,000, play my two entries, do my all-in, doubles or whatever with two different bets, and I'll just go to the top of the leaderboard and qualify. I mean, it's not that simple.
It certainly isn't. I mean, the amount of times I've, planned a day around watching the races, and by race 4, I'm tapped out of the tournament. It happens a lot more than you think. And, I've been lucky recently, but there are always stretches you go through where you're going to lose way more often than you end up in the money. So, yeah. But that's part of the fun with the contest. You're actually competing against other people, not just staring at your bankroll in your ADW. So it's a good time.
No, who is this week's player of the week, or last week's player of the week?
So the player of the week is Steven Zaire, who we will see his name shortly, talk about his plays and his success that he had in earning that BCBC seat, obviously on Saturday. That was Sunday, excuse me. And I want to talk about his day on Sunday because it was probably one of the greatest days I think I've ever seen from a contest player. Not only did he win a BCBC seat, he won a couple other qualifiers as well as cash contests. I think I saw his name in first in 5 different tournaments on Sunday. Jeez. And I did the math, which totaled, this doesn't even include the bankroll and the money that he won. Just off of the prize pool alone, counting the seats and the cash that he won, he had himself a $19,853 day. And again, that doesn't include the bankroll that he had. So obviously in this tournament that we're going to talk about, he started with $500, got that to $3,600. That's not even included. So he had himself quite the Sunday, excuse me. So I felt remiss not giving that honor to him this week because that was a hell of a day on Sunday. Matt,
that's why we have Noah Maher as the co-host of this show, because he didn't just look up, okay, I see a lot of Steven Zaire. He actually took out the calculator, or maybe he's so smart he didn't need one, and actually calculated the dollar amount. So that's an over $20,000 day. Is that right, Noah, on Sunday?
Oh, I mean, if you include the bankroll, it's got to be close to $2,500. I would assume it's got to be over 20 or 25,000. 25,000.
Wow, that's
your thoughts, Matt?
I'm jealous. I'm going to assume Noah. I'm going to assume Noah needed his TI-84 for that one.
I did. I got it out of the back in my closet because I haven't used it for a while.
Okay. Wow. That's impressive. Well, I was going to go and talk about the tour leaderboard, but we'll do it after. We'll do it after discussion from Sunday. So here's the Sunday contest that occurred. It was the $1,000 in Churchill Downs BCBC Qualifier. You start with 500. You have 500, of course, to the prize pool. And these were the seats. There were 3 seats available for the BCBC. It's a $10,000 seat, ladies and gentlemen. This is big time money on the line. 780 and then 520 plus there was cash. You see Steven Zaire, who moved up 3 spots at the end. Congratulations to him. We'll talk about his play in a little bit, Matt and Noah. Joseph Carnival moves up 6 seats. So the guys that finished first and second were not in the top 3 going into the last race. A lot of game theory there. And then our good friend Matt Miller finishes third barely, but he did make a play in the last race. He's just so damn good, Matt, at trying to figure out the game theory and when to bet. And he did bet the last race. And if he didn't, Matt, I believe he would have finished 4th. We'll look at that in just a minute. I play in this tournament. I decided to only play with one entry. I could have done with two. It's just, for me, it's too expensive, to be very honest, especially after the Saturday I had, Matt. I figured, okay, if I have a good Saturday, Belmonte, sure, I'll play two. Saturday was a complete disaster, but I spent literally 3 hours handicapping this card on the last card on Sunday, and I just felt the need to play it. Plus, I don't have a BCBC seat right now, so I'll play with one. It's a major disadvantage. It ended up being a crucial disadvantage, but it is what it is. And you play with two. Let's see what Steven Zerguys did. And congratulations on getting him 3,600. I mean, look at this, ridiculous. He basically went all in there with his 1580, which was not in first place going to that last race. So he was fourth going to the last race, and he put it on a first-time starter. Which, look, you got to do what you got to do. I thought this was the horse to beat. Like I said, I did a lot of research on this horse going in. The number 10 Leading Change won the race. It's always risky to do with the first-time starter guys, a 2-year-old, but he had enough guts to do it. The horse was 6-5. This is $800,000 gun runner colt out of a Congrats mare. And I don't know how much detail you guys looked in this race, but I did. This horse was working with Constitution, for God's sakes, and doing it very well. Or not, was it not Constitution? I'm sorry.
Commandment.
Which one? Commandment, sorry. But Commandment's out of by Constitution, right? Yeah. Anyway, he was working with Commandment and working pretty well with him. So this horse sure looked like it was going to be a monster. Matt, instead of talking about the race itself or this horse, strategy-wise, all in on the favorite. He had 1650. He didn't need to go all in. Of course, you don't know that at the time, though.
You definitely don't know that. And you want to talk about why tournaments provide a little more value than just playing outside of them. He went all in on a 6-5 favorite and turned that into $13,618 with the BCBC.
Exactly.
And that's just so much more value than just playing that 6-5 favorite outside. So I think it was a smart move. This horse had been hyped, and honestly, I thought 6-5 was a pretty good price on him. He was a really hyped horse last year, and just took a while to get to the races. And it was a great play from Steven and it worked out.
Well, again, so what did he turn that into 13,000 or with the 3,000 and then plus the 7,800, Matt, for the first.
Plus the 7,800. Yeah. So he turned that into 20 plus. Yeah.
So about 22, right? Yeah. So basically bet 1,580 to get back 22, quick math too. So about 10 to 1-ish, somewhere in that ball. Actually more than that. Matt,
more than that.
He's doing the math right now. About 12, somewhere in
12, 13 to 1. Yeah.
What is it, Noah?
I don't know, but I was gonna gonna say that Steven actually had 2 entries alive going into the last race. One of his other entries, he put $925 on Big Jake. So we just talked about Matt. It's perfect. Just talking about value, because he found a way to get both entries obviously into a position where he's going to set himself up for success, and that's what you have to do in this game. I mean, there's a lot of times where you're going to be in positions where you're going to have opportunities to pull off what Steven did. But it's just obviously getting yourself into that opportunity, because, it seemed like just based off of the betting board, it was probably going to be Big Jake or Leading Change. And obviously Leading Change was one that got heavily bet, but he had enough bankroll to shove on there. And he probably had even better odds just because he could probably lock up the race with those 2 horses with the allocated money he had.
Well, it's also the benefit of having 2 live entries going in the last race, Matt, which a lot of people don't usually have, right? So that's more game theory right there, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'll never be in that position just with the way I play, but there's a lot of folks that do that, and it works out for them very well. I mean, we saw it in the KDBC where, the winner had 2 live entries going into the last race and used them to walk away with the number 1 spot. So it's a valuable tool when you can end up in that position.
There's a little discussion on X this past weekend about, live money versus the $2 mythical. It's a completely different game, obviously, and the benefits and the negatives of having to go all in. I mean, if this is not an example of why going all in is important, or is at least a way to do it, I don't know what is, because again, he turned a 6-5 into a 12-1. I mean, which never, ever, ever happens. Even if you're playing a double, Matt, and the parlay is good, maybe you're turning a 6-5 into like a 4-1 maybe, but only in live money cash tournaments can you turn that into a 12-1 plus.
Yeah, and to be honest, this is why I like the cash being seeded into these bigger qualifying tournaments. It just makes it even more valuable when you get these aggressive plays rather than, they put half their bankroll in to play for sixth because, there's so many entries that we have 10 spots available. It ends up in a more exciting leaderboard, and, a little seat scarcity isn't the worst thing in the world sometimes.
I agree, and you chimed in on that conversation in the chat. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago when we had that?
I think last week, yeah.
And I agree with you, Matt. I think Noah was a little in between. He wasn't sure exactly, sort of neutral on that discussion. Let's talk about who finished in second here. Joseph Carnival, another name we see. He played a double. He 7 into the 10, and that was the previous race. He liked the 7 horse. Let me just go back to that one, which was, of course, the Matt win. So he just further ado, right? I mean, that's a very, very simple, logical. He played 3-5 further ado, who got another dream trip. I know further ado is one of Noah's favorite horses. I'm being cheeky because this horse just seems to find his way into perfect trips when really good horses don't break and whatnot. Not that he's not a good horse. I mean, don't get me wrong, but he just fell into a great spot and won this race. It's not on the screen, but just there's the horse there. And so very simple, $533 double. Looks like most of his bankroll win, and actually also played a $400 double into the 2, which is Big J. So there you go. So yeah. It looked like it was somewhat Dutch with the 533. Seems like he.
So I mean, it's kind of the same opinions from the top 2 finishers, just played out in different ways.
Exactly. Yep. So they need further ado to win. They need one of the favorites again. They need favorites to win when favorites win. And actually, the reason why Noah mentioned my name is because I finished second in a qualifier for the tournament we're going to talk about this Saturday. And I sat in the last race, and it worked out great because the last race was a complete cluster. This was it was a few days before. I can't remember which. I think it was Friday. And it was just long shots came in because I'd hated the race and just worked out well for me. So as we've seen, Matt, the last race in these tournaments is obviously important. But when you have long shots win those, boy, does the leaderboard look different than it could.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just you're such a good reader of the form that you can kind of tell when that chaos is more likely than in other races. And it's kind of interpreting that. It's a lot of weighing probabilities, not just of, what's the probability my horse is going to win, but what's the probability of a horse that nobody has winning? And then you're in a great position.
And here's another example of why Matt is such a good contest player. And he admits he's not, he'll play mainly favorites almost all the time. I mean, he's going to play favorites 95% of the time in these contests, and he just picks the right spots because favorites don't always win. What I want to mention here is what he did. He played a double, very similar to what Joseph Carnival did, just at a much lower scale, and he didn't Dutch it. He played a double with further ado into Big Jake and Leading Change, but to get him 105. But I think what needs to be mentioned here is he did risk $150 on the favorite there, and if the favorite doesn't win, what was that 150 there? He would have 22-0 something. He would have finished sixth, it looks like. So because Matt Majunkin, he did play 150 to win on the favorite and got another 343 there. He was able to finish third. He was willing to risk, and he calculated to risk 150, and it ended up being a $10,000 decision.
Yeah, there's nobody better at ending up in the last spot for the major prize than Matt in these qualifiers. I'd love to see the stats on how many times, if there's 7 available seats, he ends up in the 7th spot just by playing the game theory perfectly. It's obviously not the same result in this one just because of the cash, but he wanted the BCBC seat. That was his goal, and he is the best at just extracting his goal from these tournaments.
I want to talk about my play quickly because I'm actually proud of it, even though I zeroed out. And I'd love to hear your opinion, Matt and Noah. Well, actually, Noah knows what I did because we were texting. Noah did not play in the tournament. I only had one entry, Matt, and I handicapped these races for, like I said, 2.5 hours. And what I did is, you can see, I just show bet my first three just to get, and I actually was correct on those three. So actually, I had 583, I think, going into race 5. And this is where I decided to go all in. And I was really proud and very happy when this horse, which we're going to show, absolutely ran off the screen. You could make the argument was the most impressive horse on the day. The horse named Sneakily, not because I had him, but just this horse that was coming off a long layoff, Matt. I really disliked the field in general, and I watched some workouts, and just the vibe to me told me this horse was going to be tough in this spot if she was ready. She didn't break well at all. No, she broke last, and I was like, oh boy. Typical. I mean, she hopped to the start, Matt, and lost 2.5 lengths in a mile.
No, I watched it. I mean, she was really the best by about 10 lengths. There's no doubt.
No, it completely blew by the field, and midway through the stretch, I'm like, she's not losing this race. And and NYRA just knew it. He had under the hood. It was absolutely mind blowing. And so I was alive. I decided I could have Dutched it, Matt. This is where I want to hear your opinion. Please be honest. I could have easily Dutched Explora and On Time Girl. I thought there was a 95% chance one of those two was winning. The problem with Dutching is that because they were so low, I think one was about 8.1 for $1, which is the one that I had, and the Explorer was down to like 4.9 or something. If I Dutched it, it would have been like 2.5, and I knew I would have had to make a second play, which certainly I could have done. But I really was hoping just to make one play. And so I decided not to Dutch it. Plus, to be very honest, I liked On Time Girl more, as did Noah. He will admit on this show, or at least I hope he would.
I did too. And I mean, this just goes back to, if you had 2 entries, you would have been sitting pretty for a BCBCC. But if you did the right move with one, Dutching these would not have landed you, unless you had a strong opinion later on, would not have landed you in a position to get up into those top 3.
I did have an opinion later on, because I was planning on 2 hitting, as we like to call it, Matt, of course. But that second opinion was actually wrong. The second opinion was I really like Taptastic to finish second or third in the Further Ado race. That was my plan, to use him in second or third in exactas and tries, and try to get that extra maybe 5, 6, 7, 800. And I would have lost that. So I would have lost anyway, but this was painful. But, I don't know who else would have had that. No, I didn't look through everyone's entries. I don't think too many people had that all in. And also, Matt, I decided, and you don't always have to do it this way. You sort of did something similar, though. I knew everyone was going to play Further Ado at the end, and I wanted to have a big total before that. So I went a little bit out of the box, and frankly, I thought Sneakily was one of the most likely winners of the entire card. I just happened to be right. You did, but then I just lost the back end. I mean, it's by a half length. It's the way it goes. But I mean, if On Time Girl wins, I spent $1,000 to win 12,000. So I'll take my chances with that. Again, I was turning 7.5 to 1 double into basically 12 to 1 is what it would have turned out to be. So that's what I did. The other thing that's pretty funny, and I'm willing to admit it, because admit it makes it sound like it's something hidden. It's right there in front of you. With my other $84, Matt, you can see what I did there on the screen. I did trifectas with every logical horse in the third, except the longest shot on the board, the 2 who I thought had no chance. And of course, what happens? The 2 comes in third. So that would have given me that try would have given me somewhere around 350, and I could have still done something there, obviously. So, the one horse I leave out, Matt, is the horse that finishes third. And people say, well, why don't you just play exacta? Because the exacta was paying nothing. And so there was no reason to do it.
Was paying. Yeah, it was absolutely not worth playing the exacta in that race.
Yeah. Right. And then very quickly, I know this is somewhat painful to do, but you're on the show and I want people to learn. I think your decision, what you did here in race 4, you went all in. I have zero problem with it. You basically went a bunch of different combinations with me and Molly McGee, who I thought actually would run well, and she was awful.
Yeah, she really disappointed me.
And the 78, the other 2 logical ones.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, the speed just didn't really hold, and I actually knew I was going to be out of cell service for the following 3 races, so I had to, or following 2 races. So I had to get it in on this race. I just didn't trust the 3 at all. And I thought Safi's juice had kind of worn out a little bit, but obviously I was wrong.
I don't know what you're talking about, by the way. Does he drink apple juice in the morning or what? I don't know. All right.
No, yeah, you're right. My bad.
Anyway, that's okay. It's a family
show.
No,
I actually wanted to mention this because I was not going to play the tournament, but remembered I had a credit left over thanks to the folks at TwinSpires because of an extra BC or KDBC entry. So I ended up just texting them and they put me into the contest. But just wanted to thank them. And it just goes to speak for the TwinSpires contests are the best run contests right now. The fact that I can text them on a Sunday, they even gave me this credit in the first place instead of just letting it lapse. They want people to play, and I'm very appreciative for that.
Well, that's awesome. TwinSpires is great. Darren Zocali, everyone else. Let's go to the leaderboard. Noah, you can talk about it. We see some familiar names. This is the overall leaderboard right now, Noah.
Yeah, so obviously with the weekend and primarily the Sunday that Steven Zare had, going to find himself basically at the top leaderboard, obviously with Matt. We talked at lengths about Matt's intention with the tour and earning points and stuff like that. But obviously you're going to see him up there for quite a while, if not basically the entire length of the tour leaderboard here. You see some guy I've never met, Mr. Matt McJunkin, at 240 points there. But obviously, yeah, it seems like people are obviously something that they're kind of pointing towards. And when they offer these big contests, you're going to see some newer names and obviously people getting into it, which is cool to see. And like Matt said, I mean, obviously TwinSpires with tons of the opportunities that they're giving people. Obviously the tour is just a little extra added bonus as well.
I don't know if you want to answer this question, Matt, but how aggressively are you trying to get points for the tour? Or are you just playing when you can and just let the chips fall where they may?
I'm just playing when I can right now, just because I have other goals. Like getting my last BCBC seat takes priority. If I hit all of those others, I might switch more of my attention to targeting tour points tournaments. But also a lot of the best tournaments are tour points tournaments. So it's going to end up that way. I mean, that's why we see Matt's name at the top of the leaderboard. He's successful in those good big tournaments, and that gets you up at the top.
As we've said many times, we've got a great tip sheet, by the way. Look below the video player. It's over a $3 ROI. It's for this year has been our best year so far. We've got Del Mar and Saratoga specific tip sheets that we're going to be advertising soon on our fantastic website, hhhracingpodcast.com. So look into our tip sheets here on the HHH Racing Podcast. All right, guys, let's get into what's happening this weekend coming up. Actually, this week first, and then we'll talk about the contest on Saturday, because I think I've handicapped the entire card, by the way, Matt. That's how zoned in. That means absolutely nothing. I just know I'm playing 2 entries. So I have very strong opinions already, of which I'll share some of them. But no, let's go ahead and quickly talk about what's happening this week. The usual bevy of fantastic contests through TwinSpires at different price points.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you got your fair share of lower ratio cash contests. You got your betting sets, obviously, that people also offer. I want to give a quick shout out to Kyle's dad, Bill Roscoe, who actually earned himself a seat through one of those betting set tournaments.
Oh, nice.
When I was doing my research for Player of the Week, because obviously I go to extensive lengths to find that out, I did see his name in there and saw that he won a seat. So I just want to give a little shout out to him and congrats. But obviously, some of the similar stuff that you see in terms of opportunities, obviously on the TwinSpires platform, both with those cash contests, the betting sets, and then the feeder is just kind of the world that I live in. So you'll probably see me in a couple of those this week, and then everything kind of leads up to Saturday, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, George Barrett's in the chat. He had a really bad beat, but kudos to Matt for overtaking him. David Nolan is here. Good evening, all. Let's see. The Messy G had an awesome Saturday. Good for you. Question from Tom Espinoza, Matt McJunkin, and then we will get into the Saturday big contest question. There are no stupid questions this fall, Tom, at all. Tom's from the San Francisco area. Matt, he's one of our longtime viewers and listeners from the very beginning. I'm here to learn, but having 2 entries, is it as simple as doubling your chances to win, or is it a bigger advantage than that? It's hard to put a percentage on it, Matt, but what's your response to Tom's question, who is a bit of an amateur with the contest?
I wouldn't say it exactly doubles your chance to win. I think it just lets you really play your opinions to their fullest extent, and maybe even throw a little bit of a hedge in there on your secondary opinions. It's a little bit of a lifeline. I definitely wouldn't say it doubles your chance to win, but it just allows you to play on an even playing field with everybody else that's playing with 2 entries. And yeah, just maximize your opinions. That's really all I can say. There's no percentage increase to it. I'm sure somebody out there has a table somewhere with with all the
calling
stats
Marshall
on it.
Graham. Yeah. I mean, I could have gone at second entry, but I mean, 2,000 is a lot for me. I'm just going to be honest, everyone. I mean, sure, I haven't said, well, Howard, you can just betting, putting another 1,000, you have a much better chance of winning 10,000. Much better? I don't know, but again, everyone's got to weigh their. I'm not going to tell people what to do with their money, Matt. I mean, I don't spend $2,000 willy nilly. 1,000 was already a lot considering I lost X amount on Saturday, and that shouldn't matter. But it is real money we're talking about here. It's not monopoly.
No, 100%. But I mean, that's where the wide tournament offerings kind of help. You can jump into those $40, $50 tournaments and kind of practice the strategy with 2 entries and not feel bad about if you walk away with nothing after you put in 80 or 100.
Yeah,
those are the testing grounds. And I got to say, you will end up with a pretty healthy prize pool in those tournaments on a Saturday. I believe the Belmont one on Saturday, top place walked away with, I think, $1,300 or something like that. That's for only putting in $80 or $100. That's a good prize.
And our good friend Jackson, Noah, you said had a monster day in a cash money tournament right on the show last week.
Yeah, and they had the TwinSpires offered that really big entry fee with a cash contest on Saturday for Belmont Stakes Day, where it was $500. So I think the winner in that one got like almost $7,000, which is awesome to see. I don't know if they're going to start doing more of that, or if that was just kind of a thing that they.
I think it's because of Triple Crown Day.
Yeah. But obviously, it was cool that so many people jumped in, and just awesome to see that there were a bunch of people in that.
Let's talk about the $600 SFBC qualifier. This is this Saturday. We're all vying for $3,500 seat. I'm going to have 2 entries. I don't know if Noah's going to try to qualify or not. But anyway, $300 in the bankroll, $300 prize pool. It's going to be 1 for every 15 entries. So I'm assuming this is going to be close to 100. So I'm guessing, Matt, there's going to be, 6, 7, 8 seats available here. I might be over.
Yeah, that'd be my guess. We'll see,
right? Yeah.
There might be some post Belmont, people taking a break, but I would guess 6, 7, 8.
So I've looked at this entire card, so I'm not going to just talk people's head off. But the first thing you're going to notice, Matt, is there are a bunch of races with smaller fields. What does that mean to you, if anything?
I think that's a place where if you can find a horse you really like, that's a place to take advantage. There's less variability, less chances of a really bad trip, and you can kind of press your bankroll up early if you have a strong opinion. That's really all I can say. Look, that's what I got lucky with on Derby Day, was some small fields where I could press it up, and I like to take advantage of those spots for sure.
No, I don't know how deep if you dove into this card. I got to be honest, and I'm not just saying this because I'm going to compete against people who are watching. Even in these smaller fields early in the card, I didn't love a lot of horses. Race 5 to 6 interests me because even though race 6 is a 5 furlong 2-year-old race, Matt and Noah, we will be able to see the board in theory looking at the probables. And then race 5, I do have some opinions. I don't know if they're going to be correct or not. So if I were to do something early, no, it's really going to be race 5 to 6. I did not love even race 1, which is a 6-horse field. That's just my opinion, though. Noah, did you see anything early before we talk about race 9 and 10?
I dove into 9 and 10 pretty extensively. I didn't look at the rest of the card all that much, just kind of glanced over. We're going to talk about races 9 and 10. I would definitely look towards that first part of the card regardless, just to try to look for a place to give yourself some more bankroll to work with and give yourself a couple more bullets, because a lot of people are going to be centered around the 2 races that we're going to talk about.
Well, that's the thing. We're going to talk for 10 minutes. And Matt, this is one of the main reasons why I want to have you on the show, because you're so good in these contests. So this is going to be a situation where Percy's Bar, the morning lines are not out yet, or if they are, I could refresh. I don't think they're out yet. If they are, let me just refresh. No,
I don't think so.
Percy's Bar is going to be morning line. I'll say even money and probably go off at 4 to 5. And then the next race, of course, is Burnham. Not, I shouldn't say of course. Maybe people don't know. Sorry, I need to go back. Let me hit another button here. The next race after the Percy's Bar race, and by the way, I don't think Percy's Bar has to win. That's just my personal opinion, but that's a conversation for, I won't say another day because we'll talk about it. Then you have Burnham Square, who's going to be or should be 4 to 5 morning line and be 1 to 5. So Matt, if people are thinking, okay, I'm just going to wait to race 9 and just pound this double, the Percy's Bar into Burnham Square double, I would guess is going to be around maybe only a little more than even money. I would say, if I had to guess, I would say like, what, $2.20 for $1 would be my opinion, Matt. The first question is, do you agree with my assessment on what it's going to pay?
100%. I would go even less, to be honest.
Okay.
That's when you look at the probables and it just says a 1.
So then here's the big question. And you're not playing in this contest, you said, so feel free to say whatever you like, of course. You could, even if you were playing, you could say whatever you want. Everyone, and you're going to get less equity, in my opinion, if you wait, because everyone's doing that. So what the hell do you do in this contest, Matt?
I think you try and beat Percy's Bar. I'm not sure anybody's beating Burnham Square. Now, maybe there's a question that he really just does need 1.5 miles, and the shorter distance is going to change it up. After this past weekend at Saratoga, I know it's obviously a different track, but I'm very speed aware right now, and there is some more speed in that 1.5 mile race than you would typically see out of these turf horses. But I think you try and beat Percy's Bar here. I'm not exactly sure that outside of the Oaks that she's faced anybody super special. I know we've got a zany fan in Howard here, but yeah, maybe not anymore. But I'm not sure that Ashland win comes back super impressive right now. I would probably take a chance with, let me just pull it up here, with maybe Sneaky Good and Larascas and see what you can do there. I think Larascas has a big chance to take a step forward. She looked very, very good in that debut, and play them into Burnham Square. If you really love Percy's Bar, I'd say you got to then take a chance with beating Burnham Square with a Chapman's Peak or somebody like that.
Right. So that's the question, Noah, is if you want to avoid that double, do you play doubles with other horses or do you play just straight exactas? Because to me, Noah, the exacta is not easy either, because a horse like Larascas, for one of your favorite ownerships in racing, John Stewart, and in Resolute Racing, I mean, she could win the race in theory, but I mean, she doesn't. If you know, AT's Girl could finish second, assuming the field holds together. Sneaky Good could finish second or even win. Chad's got a horse in here. So the question, Noah, is, do you maybe try to beat one of those two, like Matt is suggesting, or you just play straight exactas? Because if you Dutch them, it's gonna be hard to get paid on Dutch exactas also.
Yeah, I think the way I would play it is, I think however I found my spot earlier on in the day, whether it be race 1 or race 4, something before this sequence of races here, I would try to play doubles into Percy's Bar and Larascas, because I don't think Sneaky Good wants the distance, but I think you could pretty much lock up the race with those two. I would almost try to find 1 or 2 horses in the race prior. That way I put a number out there. That way people can't play these very formful results that could obviously very, very much happen. But I would try to make people divert to go into playing things that they're not typically, used to playing, whether it be trying to figure out, separate themselves, or trying to play longer prices, maybe in second or in third behind Burnham Square. And even if Burnham Square wins and they're playing, sequences like that, they're not going to get paid. So I would want to put out a number that's imposing enough to make them try to switch up that strategy and make them play something that obviously they weren't ready to play.
So here's the really cool thing. I'm just going to show my group. I don't care if people hear my opinions. No one's going to listen to me anyway, Matt. I totally agree with you, Noah, that Noah's suggestion again, ladies and gentlemen, and we have a lot of people watching, and please put your thoughts in the chat, because I'm assuming a lot of people haven't handicapped this card yet, on what to do here. the smart thing to do, if possible, would play a double in race 8 into race 9, or Burnham Square into race 11, right? So I looked really carefully, of course, Matt, because although Noah and I didn't talk about this, but he led a horse to water. Now I'm going to drink it, literally, as Noah's drinking. I looked at race 8 and race 11 very carefully. I'm just going to show, I don't know if people can see what I have for race 8 at the bottom there. Contest, no. I hate that race, Noah. And then race 11, the last race, look what I put. Look at my grid, ABC. I've got like 8 horses, no.
Yeah.
So Noah, I hate, this is just me.
Yeah.
And Matt, I really dislike race 8 and race 11. I think they're completely wide open. So I'm going to have to do something in those 2 races, Matt, and that's why I wanted to have this discussion. For me. Because I'm selfish. The show's only about my contest play. No, we don't care what anyone else is going to do. Just kidding, of course.
No, I mean, just thinking about it, if let's just say Percy's Bar and Burnham Square are guaranteed to win, and that double is going to pay nothing, I think you're better off trying to figure out exactas underneath Percy's Bar rather than the Burnham Square race. Those long turf races I mean, that's a funky lineup there too, with Parchment Park, with some dirt horses in there that really have no business being on the turf. In fact, the only way this double gets shorter in price is if it gets rained off the turf and Parchment Party is running on the dirt.
It's interesting you say that, Matt, because the bigger field is the Burnham Square race, right? So I normally would agree with you. The problem is, I think it's hard to find second if Percy Bar wins. It could be literally anyone. You obviously can't do that. In this race, I'm not so sure there's a lot of choices. Obviously, Parchment Party could finish second, but is he really a dirt horse is the question, right? Maybe Spoiler because it's Maker, but this horse was in for 55,000, right? Yeah. I think Echo Lane is an obvious horse to use in second, and Dancing Denials, and obviously these 2 are probably the most obvious, along with Parchment Party. Maybe Chapman's Peak. Maybe this horse tries to go to lead and can hang on for second. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, trying to find a horse for second to me is as easy or difficult in this race as it is the Percy's Bar race. But that's my handicapping opinion. So I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I now that you go through it, I agree. I didn't deep dive. I was really looking at the double, trying to analyze that and how maybe you could extract some value from it. But yeah, I think you have to play these races as one. I'm not sure going across them is going to get you anything for this.
Well, there's rain in Kentucky like the whole week too. So I don't know if Parchment Party is an entrant in case they take the race off the turf.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. That the only way this double pays less is if it's run on the dirt and Parchment Party is running.
Yeah. But it's one of those situations where you look at this race and there's clearly going to be defections. So obviously this price, what you're projecting it to be with a full field of 8, it's probably going to come down. Therefore, your price is going to come down.
But he's not a main track only, though, Noah. He is in the main body of the field.
He is. Well, does Churchill do main track onlies? I don't know if they do.
Maybe they don't.
I don't think they do.
Yeah, maybe they don't. The other thing with Burnham Square is, I mean, he's tons the best, but he wants it firm. I mean, so if it's soft, I mean, who knows? I don't know. We didn't see Zulu Kingdom lost at 1-2, Matt, on Sunday.
He's also coming back in 4 weeks again, which I know.
Well, he won on good turf last time out.
He did. But it could be worse, is what Noah's suggesting, right?
It could be. Yeah, I mean, we're supposed to get thunderstorms like all week, so good thing I'm not there. But yeah, he's coming back again in 4 weeks after he had a 4-week break after his race at Keeneland, and then now again. I know he can get paid $200,000 for a workout, but just surprised he's back so soon.
Yeah, well, it's going to be actually he'd make about $150 because it's 60% of the purse. But I know what you mean. He doesn't get the entire purse now if you win. There is money for second, third, fourth, and fifth. By the way,
this might be the last time he runs until Kentucky Downs, maybe.
No, I heard he's going to the Ellington Million. Is what they were saying. Okay. Which is
if he can ship that far, I know.
Don't even get me started on that. Anyway. Really interesting discussion. Let me just finalize by saying this, guys. I think I would recommend to people at home, like, you have to make some plays before that double. I mean, because again, Matt, everyone's playing that kind of double or those 2 races, like, for sure, most likely. And you're just not when you think you're getting 4-1, you're really not, because everyone's getting 4-1. You know what I mean, Matt?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, if you wait that long, you're probably going to be sitting in a very uncomfortable position looking up at some people who have established themselves outside of your range after that race.
No, your final thoughts. I mean, you got to play something early, and then are you suggesting a double, or I think you're suggesting exacta, right? Find exactas somehow.
I am more the double route. I'm not a great handicapper in marathon races to begin with, so it's not typically a spot that I gravitate towards. But I already know we're already going to have this extensive conversation, and then we're going to look at the leaderboard next week, and whoever wins is going to just pound that double straight. They're going to have a $2,000 double that pays, just under $4,000, and we're going to see them at the top of the leaderboard. But yeah, I'd go doubles, but again, I would go somewhere outside, not only because everyone's going to go there and you're not going to get value. I don't really have a huge opinion in those two races, to be quite honest with you.
Well, I might play that double too, but my point is you got to have something before that. You can't use your 500 to play that double.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I know Mr. Maher might be playing Percy's Bar one way or another. His father's a big fan of Ben Colbrook, Matt. So
find a way.
In fact, we had a side bet on Oaks Day, but I won't mention what happened because I don't want to embarrass the Maher family. It was his Percy's Bar with one of my horses, and we both lost the race, but my horse beat his. Actually, no one won the bet because the bet, Matt, was one of our horses had to win in order to cash, and so neither one of our horses won in the end.
Good old pillow fight.
There you go.
Yeah.
Matt, final thoughts. Really appreciate you being on, by the way. I know it's not easy to come on. We don't have a win to talk about, but that's the kind of classy guy you are, and I do want to have some of the best contest players on the show once in a while. Final thoughts on the Saturday contest or anything with the Churchill Downs contest in general?
No, it's going to be a good one and the big one on Saturday. I'll probably be partaking in some of the smaller cash tourneys just to keep it sharp. But everybody just try it out, see if it's for you. I know if you're listening to this, you've probably already given it a try, but I do it as much as you can. It's the most fun you can have playing the horses.
And it's all going to lead to the $3,500 Stephen Foster Betting Challenge. What an incredible card and day of racing, Matt. I will be there in person along with Noah Maher and Patrick Hunzel. We're going to have a live show, ladies and gentlemen, on our YouTube channel. The plan is Kyle Ross going to be hosting with Matt Miller and Andrew Rosinski. And there's going to be reporting live, Matt, between myself, Noah, and Pat with owners and trainers and jockeys on our YouTube channel with Weekend Warriors. So that's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be a great show. And all into the $2 million Stephen Foster. What an unbelievable race, Matt, that's going to be.
It's going to be incredible. And I do well when you're on site at Churchill, Howard. So I'm looking forward to that contest.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do, my friend. Well, I appreciate it. Noah, great job as always. Appreciate your intel and help with the show. For my wonderful co-hosts, Noah Maher, and guest tonight, Matt Minjunkin. This has been your host, Howard Kravitz, episode 32 of the Leaderboard. It's very simple. Crush your bets in any TwinSpires contest you play, but especially this Saturday, $600 Stephen Foster Betting Challenge Qualifier. Take care, everyone. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.